All right, let's get right into it. We are going to be talking about a really profound shift that's quietly reshaping our world. All the data is pointing to a future, and we're not talking far off. We're talking 2030. That's going to look totally different for a huge number of women.
And here is the number that really makes you stop and think. By 2030, analysts are projecting that almost half, 45%, of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and won't have children. Now, this isn't some small trend, it's a massive seismic shift in our social landscape.
So you have to ask, right? Why? What is going on that's driving such a huge change? Well, it's not just one thing. It's actually a pretty complex mix of economic pressures, social changes, and cultural values all coming together at the exact same time. Let's break it down. Okay, so the first big piece of this puzzle is what you could call the ambition equation. For so long, the expected life path for women was pretty straightforward. But now, career and education, they're not just side projects, they are powerful forces that are completely rewriting those old timelines. It really kicks off with education. We're seeing more women than ever enrolling in college and getting graduate degrees. And that naturally leads to a much bigger focus on building a career, which means a lot of women are consciously choosing to delay or maybe even skip traditional milestones like marriage or having kids. And at the very heart of all this is a really powerful motivator: financial independence. I mean, the goal of having your own money isn't just about having a job, it's about having agency. It gives women way more control over their life choices, and that kind of power is completely changing the game when it comes to personal decisions. And it makes sense, right? This new economic freedom doesn't just change your career path, it totally changes what you look for in a relationship. The whole definition of partnership is being renegotiated, which brings us to the second big driver here. The entire dating world has been turned upside down. You've got gender roles that are way more fluid now. Women feeling more empowered by their independence often have, higher standards for who they want to partner with. And let's be honest, modern dating culture with all the apps and the constantly changing rules has made finding a long-term partner a completely different and way more complicated experience. So this leads us right into the third key reason, what I'm going to call the freedom factor. There's this huge cultural current that's putting a new, high value on things like personal experience, self-development, and just plain old autonomy. And you can really see it in what people are prioritizing: that intense focus on developing yourself, the desire to travel and have new experiences, and the high premium placed on personal freedom. These aren't just side quests anymore. For a lot of people, they've become the main adventure, and they're definitely competing with the traditional idea of settling down. And our modern world is just pouring gasoline on this fire. City living practically encourages independence, and social media is constantly showing us and normalizing these lives that are focused on the individual. It creates this powerful feedback loop that just keeps reinforcing the idea that going it alone is a totally valid and exciting choice. So, okay, we've looked at the why, but what does all of this actually mean for us? It's really important to look at this trend from two very different angles because both have a point. Is this a story of pure empowerment, or is it a sign of a new kind of societal challenge? On one side, you can absolutely see this as a huge sign of empowerment. Women have more personal autonomy, a laser focus on self-actualization, and simply way more choices in life than ever before. But then you have to flip the coin. This shift brings up some major questions for society. What happens to population growth? How does this change the very idea of family? And what does it all mean for the generations to come? The truth is, it's probably a little bit of both. Okay, so let's tie this all together. What are the big takeaways? First, a massive demographic shift is happening right now. Second, it's not random. It's being driven by ambition, changing relationships, and a new focus on freedom. And maybe most importantly, this isn't a simple good or bad thing. It's a complex story about individual empowerment and some huge new questions for all of us. And that leaves us with one final, really crucial question to think about. When you look at all these factors and all these changes, you just have to wonder, is our society, our institutions, our communities, our own expectations truly ready for a future that is going to be so significantly shaped by the unpartnered woman? Now that is something worth considering.